This week, we're in upstate New York at a basketball school founded by the Order of Friars Minor in 1937, Siena College. The Friars and the Saints got together and brought in one of the best young basketball coaches in the game. You may know him from the 2003 Syracuse Orangemen National Championship team, Siena Saints head coach Gerry McNamara.
This episode of One Star Recruits is brought to you by 500 Level. It's 500level.com for all the best t-shirts in sports. Gerry McNamara is a Syracuse legend. If you want current Syracuse players in the NBA, support O'Shea Brissett and Cole Swider. 500level.com, t-shirts for both. The only current Siena Saint in the NBA, Jalen Pickett of the Denver Nuggets, played 3 years at Siena. 500level.com, discount code DKandRIP, that's DKANDRIP, for 20% off everything at checkout. Let's go.
This is Gerry McNamara. I'm on with the One Star Recruit podcast. Go Saints, baby.
Yo, aloha. Welcome to the podcast. I'm checking in 182.1. Unfortunately, I'm up a pound since last week with 6 more days to go. Not the news I just expected. Rip, I just did a weigh-in literally right before because I forgot to do it. And I'm up a pound. I got some work to do. That's 4 pounds in 6 days. Do you think I can do it?
Yeah, I mean, if you see those wrestlers that cut like 15 pounds overnight, I mean, this honestly, I know you just weighed yourself within the last 60 seconds. This feels like one of those post-game interviews with the raw emotion, your reaction from gaining a little bit of weight. But you can do it, man. Come on, just go get in the sauna, puke a couple times. You can do it.
I'm a little disappointed. There's a heavy coffee and water intake that could be in play here going on this beautiful morning, but I am a little bit disappointed. Been a tougher challenge than I think. This is 40. It's a little harder to lose weight as I do this challenge. So 6 more days. Now, 3 pounds. I believe in myself, Rip. You believe in yourself. Before these interviews, listeners, we have a couple minutes to usually say hello and get everybody on the same page. You know, try to tighten everything together as quick as we can. Sometimes even build a little rapport, as they used to say. Build rapport. Do people still say that? Rapport?
Yeah, build rapport with the guests. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, a little rapport. So your boy Rip made a strong rapport run at Coach McNamara. He came in, he did a little dance, did a little Bloomsburg talk, a little Danville, PA talk. Came in smooth, some one-star chit-chat from our guy Rip. I think it landed halfway because Coach is a good guy. But I also feel like, Rip, it was a little bit of you give the wave at somebody in your neighborhood and you throw it out there, throw a good wave out there, a strong one. You feel confident in it. You look up and realize you're waving at a pine bush and you missed your wave connection. Or do you think you nailed it? You built some rapport.
If there's one thing I know, it's geography, and that's top 5 for me, Northeast Pennsylvania, because I was born about 2 hours from there, and my father went to college there. Anyone who throws out Bloomsburg University, DK, they have to know what they're talking about. You just don't mention that in passing.
I think there's a connection. Like I said, I was on the outside. I was like the neighbor looking through his window, watching you move your trash can out, throw out the swing and a miss. But close connection. You think that's your top? That would be your number 1 Jeopardy target category if you had the option. Northeast Pennsylvania.
I don't think there's going to be that category. I would probably narrow it to sports number 1 and geography number 2, more general. But yeah, I mean, if they had a Northeast Pennsylvania, I'd probably come out of that with like $1,800 just from that category alone.
Well, you're looking good. I'm looking at you on video. Somehow I think your forehead's gotten bigger. Your head maybe has gotten a little bit bigger. Some Jeff Bezos stuff going on with Rip in his older age, but you're looking good. You look like a Franciscan friar a little bit, actually, to be honest with you. I always appreciate a good Franciscan school as mascots, too. We got the Saints here with Siena. As listeners know, I happen to come from an illustrious high school of the Franciscan theme, the Franciscan overall what do you call it? Yeah, theme. The Marcos Deniza Padres of Tempe, Arizona, where I happen to star on the big player on the JV tennis team, fourth down on that row. Team
One star.
Varsity team manager for the varsity team tennis. Didn't play though, just chased balls. Just filled up those ball racks pretty much the whole time and collected water bottles. And then, six snare drum in the drum line. Eventually got downgraded to the pit. They call it the pit, where you go in front of the marching band. You don't get to march. But Rip, I played a hell of a marimba from Mr. Holland's Opus, 1997, Friar School. So it was a great year. A great year for all, bro. You remember me? Do you remember me when I was in the pit in the marching band?
I don't think I actually went to any of your performances, but we did play some intramural tennis in the summers, and you definitely had me on that one. I just don't know how you go from being on the actual team to going down to a manager. Like, what happens there? Is that just you hit your peak in your sophomore year, or what?
I think it's a combination of heat, maybe grades, girls, and GPC cigarettes and lattes at that stage in my life that took my attention in other directions. But I could have been great. I still love tennis. I still play quite a bit. I need a new beginning. I need a new era. There's a new era in Siena. Here we go, Rip. Here's the transition. A new era of Siena men's basketball, though, has begun. For real. Gerry McNamara was introduced as the team's 19th head coach. Syracuse basketball, great. He's in Siena. He's providing a spark. This team, Rip, had 4 wins last season, the worst ever in the history of Siena basketball. A team that we see pop up in the tournament every now and again. So Coach McNamara's in. He's legendary, like we said. State of New York, Northeastern PA, like my boy Rip said. 2002 to 2006 were the years that he was there. As a freshman, though, he helped cut down the nets. Get this, bro, in the same arena, which was then the Pepsi Center, that is now the MVP arena. So he led the Orange to the Final Four and ultimately into the national title, but he had to go through the MVP arena. Did you know that?
I did not know that. I was shocked to even see there was a huge arena in downtown Albany. But yeah, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese there last year. I mean, it's a great venue, that especially for a smaller school like Siena.
It's a good building. Get your tickets. So since then, McNamara had been on the bench for 15 years, which is crazy to think too. Let me repeat that for us old heads. 15 years at Syracuse. So graduate assistant coach, and then associate head coach last season. Kind of a shocker here. And we talked to him about it a little bit. Not as much as a shocker as a 40-year-old really good coach creating a new path, but here he is. The youngsters say opportunity to stand on business, take a team on his own that needs help. 4 wins. This team needs help in an era that it's hard to get players. I did see, Rip, they grabbed a 7-footer. Need to do some more research into that. 7-footers do not grow on trees there, so well done there. But stand on business with his own team. Get away from the shadow of Coach Boeheim and the Orangemen. I think he'll be successful, Rip.
He's a winner. He was a winner as a player and coached under a winner for a long time, as you mentioned, in Boeheim. So we're looking forward to see what he does. 4-28 last year with Siena, so you can only go up from here, and I think he's the right guy to do it. Everyone, enjoy this interview with Syracuse legend and Siena Saints head coach Gerry McNamara. Now joining the One Star Recruits podcast, we have a native of Scranton, Pennsylvania, the starting point guard on the 2003 Syracuse national title team, the new men's head basketball coach at Siena College, and the best free throw shooter we've ever had on this podcast. Gerry McNamara is on with the One Star Recruits. Thanks for hopping on, Coach.
My pleasure. Thank you, guys.
Hey, I mentioned the free throw shooting. You were right around 90% in your college career. Is shooting free throws like riding a bike? Like, how many out of 100, if I gave you a ball right now with an empty gym and a hoop, how many are you hitting right now out of 100?
Right now, probably 97, 98.
Oh, dang,
Woo!
confident.
Yeah.
Really,
That's
Coach?
about as far as I shoot the basketball these days. I don't go any further now. 15 feet and in, nice and easy. That's it.
I'll take it, man. The MVP gym at Siena. You're at Siena now, so it's 3 hours from your hometown of Scranton, 2 hours from Syracuse. I see you bringing in JUCO transfers. You got a D2 guy, some high school guys. You're working the portal. What has the past 3 months been like for you? First time head coach.
Well, when I got here, it was snowing and it's like 96 degrees today. So it's gone quick. It's gone really fast. Probably the first 8 weeks was like a big whirlwind. You get the job and the excitement of that kind of dissolves immediately because your attention and focus goes right to player and roster management. And, it was quick. I was really happy that I was able to put my staff in place quickly. And then of our first 8 visits, we had 8 commits. So we went 8 for our first 8. So we were efficient in terms of our recruiting, and we didn't waste time because there's so many guys right now, coaches like myself sitting in the same seat where they're still battling trying to, fill a roster. It's a scary time of year for a lot of coaches. And, I was just really happy that when we hit the ground, we hit it running. I was in a 2-bedroom apartment. One of my assistants and my ops guy were staying in there. My ops guy, Ryan Bury, was sleeping on an air mattress. So, like, we got so much work done in those first few months because the work didn't stop. We were going from visit back to the apartment to work. And, that included more phone calls, getting more guys on visits, getting the gear together. So we were working really till midnight and then just kind of rinse and repeat Groundhog Day. So those first 2 months, man, they just went like this. And we're in a good spot now where we've got pretty much a full roster.
It's crazy, man. It's a whirlwind. And I mentioned just a couple of things, but we've had a lot of athletic directors on this podcast in the last month and a half, and the portal and the NIL stuff. But the portal in general is just a wild world. And huge kudos. Probably some early mornings at Laney's Cafe with your staff, man. That's a wild time going that hard.
Yeah.
Curiosity from the transfer. You're well known for playing at Syracuse, won the national championship. By the way, I don't want to get your PR guy in trouble, but I saw Twitter bio still has the Syracuse men's basketball program going. But Coach Boeheim retired. It was time to branch out on your own. How did you know that Siena was the right place? How did Siena call your name?
Yeah, it was, I think just a mutual interest in terms of the vision of the program. I think one of the things that I was really, really lucky and what drew me from out of high school to Syracuse in the first place was the history and support. So I would have never left Cuse because I was so happy there and ingrained into that family unless it was to go join something on my own to help build that they already had created something like that, if that makes sense, because there is great tradition here. There's so much support in this area. It's got a brand, and then just the vision of who I am as a person, and how I try to do it. I think aligned with what their values are here. So it made sense for me. I thought last year, even with Coach Boeheim's retirement, with Adrian getting the head coaching job, and me being his associate head coach, and having that transition and having something different for both of our careers, Adrian and myself, that we had never experienced was good for my development to flip a program and not flip it, but change a lot of things in the structure of it, especially how we played man to man, switching from the zone. And, just going through that experience, I thought helped prepare me a little bit for those first few hectic weeks because we had just kind of done it the year before. So just great opportunity. It's a great place, a great community. Albany's a great area. Loudonville is beautiful, and just program with rich tradition and support, and that drew me here.
A program that we see in the tournament often, that Siena program. And thank you for digging in a little bit into the Coach Audrey situation. You both started coaching at Syracuse. A lot of Orange fans. I don't know, Coach. I don't even know how to say this. Did you feel slighted? You kind of answered it, but did you feel slighted at all? Was that a job you wanted at Syracuse? It was home for so many years.
I never really kind of thought of it like it's, a slight or any of that. I think the most important thing for Adrian and I were the program was bigger than us. It was family. That's Red's like my best friend. Like, we live 5 houses from each other in Syracuse. That's my guy. So, I took it as an honor, like, that we've worked together for over a decade. And he's like, Mac, I want you by my side, right hand man. So I didn't really look at it like a slight. I just kind of looked at it like, we got to protect the brand. Like, this is the most important thing to us, is that the program's in a great state. And I thought he did a great job. We won 20 games, and just really proud of him. So to be a part of that, I'm just forever grateful to the place. It helped raise me. I'd raised my 4 kids in Syracuse, and for me to leave, like, seeing the program in a back, going in the right direction. I'm really proud of that.
Respect, Coach. Siena's schedule hasn't been released yet. Fans, 1 stars, we'd love to see Syracuse on that bad boy. What are the chances?
Future chances, I hope, are good. short-term chances are low. Pete Corsinini, who's their operations guy, is a close friend of mine who's, been with our program. He's great at his job. And Pete, I know the schedule because I was in it. I was there when we were doing it. So it's almost this year and the next year are booked out in terms of non-conference games. And, Red and I, we joked about it. I went back to Syracuse over the weekend, like a month ago. We played 9 holes of golf, and we were joking about playing how awkward it would be for me to be in that building as the opposing coach and for he and I to be coaching against each other. But, you do it like like you said, the schedule's not out, but I'm looking at who we're playing, and the games eventually will be released publicly. And there's a lot of guys that we're playing this year that I'm very good friends with on the other sideline. So
Nice.
for the first time, it's going to be a heck of a lot of fun going against him as a head coach.
We're so excited to see it. We're so excited to see it. My last question. This is a little different because it's just kind of a little current, but I'm curious what you think about the LA Lakers carousel. You're close with in the area with Coach Hurley. He's doing his thing. He passed. Looks like JJ Redick's potentially going to be the guy from completely outside looking in. Just one baller to another baller. I get you guys are all basketball sickos, as JJ says. Do you think JJ will be successful in pro basketball, kind of not paying his dues as a college or assistant coach that traditionally you see you kind of the way it goes?
I'm actually to go back to even to Coach Hurley. I'm actually surprised that he turned it. I really did when I saw his name. I said, this kind of makes sense. He just won back to back. Like, I think his son graduated and is probably moving on from UConn. So he wouldn't, that's really what I thought about most. Like, is his son graduated? And I think he would have been great. As far as JJ, I know JJ, and he's smart, man. He's smart. He's well respected. I think the biggest question, I wouldn't even say question. I would say guys like me would make me angry because I know how difficult it is to get a head coaching job. And I'm in it. I've been in it for 15 years, and it's difficult to get a head coaching job. So to have no head coaching experience, I think more so than anything would be, guys that have experience that don't ever get that chance. Because there's guys that were like me that are assistant coaches that remain assistant coaches. They never get a head coaching opportunity. So I think the anger part inside the basketball world probably plays more of a factor in terms of the backlash. Now, as far as how do I think he would do, I think he'd be great. I do, because he's smart. I think he's respected in the league. I think he's got a good mind. You understand it even in the podcast where he's talking. He's very, very intelligent. But it's a hell of a lot different doing it behind a microphone and then doing it on the sidelines every day. So that's going to be his big adjustment if this goes his way. There's a lot that goes into this, and I think he'll be ready for it. But usually I think the argument would be you've experienced it all already. That's why you're ready to be a head coach. So I understand it from the backlash side.
Amazing, amazing answer. And thank you. Maybe the opportunity too. You and Carmelo, maybe we get a podcast going and talk about running horns and slip screens,
Yeah. As long as he brings his red wine, I will indulge in a glass of wine, and as long as it's his wine, we'll be just fine.
You guys can talk. You guys can give more compliments and say good things about Duke guys on the pod there. DK
I don't
trying
know.
hard to get you that.
I don't know how far down that road I want to go.
I know that was tough for you. I could tell. Jerry, we end every interview with the segment we call 1 star to 5 star. DK mentioned it. We're the 1 stars, but we're trying to get better with advice and tips from every guest we have on this podcast, like yourself. So just a few questions that end it, and we're going to use a 1 to 5 star scale here for the answers. Started off here. DK and our wives we're all celebrating our 10-year wedding anniversaries this year. Mine was a couple weeks ago. You've been with your wife, Katie, since high school, I believe, married for 17 years now. And I know her input was really valuable when it came to you leaving Syracuse to take that Siena job. What is your 5 star tip for all the husbands out there to keep things going strong for 10, 15, 20 years and even beyond that?
Tell them how much you care about them. That's it. Like, don't ever lose that. I think it's got to be. I'd say the hardest. Do you guys have children?
Yeah,
How many?
I got two boys.
Okay. It's frustrating, man. It's the biggest gift. It changes you, and like it changes you forever. There's nothing more important in your life. But it's challenging, and you can't sometimes you got to duck and weave. You might have to take a shot or two when you come in the door, because of the frustration level. But I'd say the biggest advice is never stop telling each other how much you care about each other, because that has to be the main thing. You have to be strong because They will test you. It pushes you to the brink some days, but it's the most rewarding experience. So the head of the family, I was lucky. My parents, I have great parents, very supportive parents, and that I kind of mold my marital relationship after theirs. That there was a level of respect and love in the house, and that'd be my advice: is just tell them how you feel, man. Like, you just got to remind them that they're the most important thing in your world.
Hey, it's great perspective. Probably one of the biggest challenges of marriage is keeping that balance, and appreciate hearing that from you. I know you got 4 kids, so I can't even imagine how the challenge of that, but great perspective there. Last one here to wrap it up. Siena men's basketball went 4-28 last season under the previous head coach, but they've obviously seen some success in the past. DK mentioned the 6 NCAA tournaments. Last one, I think, was 2010. We got you in town now, though. What's the 5-star recruiting pitch to get these players? I think you've signed 9 in the last 2 months. What's that pitch to get those high school and college players to come play in downtown Albany?
But I think that this place, in a lot of ways, sells itself. You see, our playing venue is high level, our practice facility is high level. I think the pitch, from my perspective, of what I've told, I'm sitting in my office right now, what I told every recruit I had here is, I'm going to base this thing on maturity and respect. All right. I'm going to look you in the eye. When I coach you, you're going to look me in the eye. I don't need to raise my voice a lot. We could talk. I haven't brought a whistle to practice in 3 weeks, because when I speak, you're going to acknowledge it. And when you speak, I'm going to acknowledge you. And I've got a really, really mature group. Now, talent and all that factors in too, in terms of results. But, my pitch from the start has been, this place is special. This is a special area. It's got a rich tradition. And if you're looking to play for somebody that's going to push you, but treat you like a man with respect and not talk at you, I'm probably your guy. And I've got those kids, that's who I've got. They bought into who I am as a person, what I bring to the table. And I told them what I felt about them and how I believed in them and how I would use them. And, now we get to do it at a place that has incredible support in a great venue, with rich tradition. So that's really the pitch. The pitch is that this is a special place. This is who I am as a person. This is what I envision for you. And what do you say? So that's, I'm very happy that I've been transparent in who I am, what I expect, and the kids that I'm coaching are responding to it.
MVP Stadium does not mess around. It's 17,000 people in MVP Stadium. Get your tickets now. Basketball, expect Siena to win year after year after year in the tournament. You got me fired up, Coach. There's energy right now, bro. You got me pumped up.
That's the plan. I want to win. I do. But you got to do it the right way. You got to, I answered this question earlier today. Someone had asked me about it, about, what do you envision NCAA tournaments and yada, yada. And I said, listen, I worked for Jim Boeheim. The thing I could take from him the most is consistency. Never get too high, too low, never look too far ahead. It's one day at a time. It's on me to get them to have the most productive practices that we can have. I didn't like Monday's practice. It kept me up Monday night. I changed a few things for Tuesday, and I really like the way they practice Tuesday. So it's not their fault. It's my job to get them to where I'm trying to go. So day by day, I want to win titles. I want to play in NCAA tournaments. I want to be one of those teams that beat a high-level team and run on the court. I want that. But I'm not going to think about that until I go day by day. It's not going to happen by accident. It's got to be by the work.
I know you got us sold for sure. It's one of those things, you see someone, I know you've been kind of preparing for this role for the last 20 years. So we're excited to see where you take it, man. Everyone can go follow Gerry at Coach_McNamara on Twitter. Anything you want to know about Siena can be found online at sienastates.com. We grew up watching you in Arizona play in all these NCAA tourneys. So we're glad to see you following this journey, man. Keep working hard. And thank you again for coming on with the One Stars.
My pleasure. Thank you, guys. Good luck with everything. Keep doing your thing.
Maybe one of the greatest Siena Saints hit my world in 2013. Rip, the year was 2013. NBA D-League was in full effect. There I was, a young DK sitting in Santa Cruz, California. We had breaking news. It hit the wire at our office that, like I said, used to be a Kinko's on Pacific Avenue in Santa Cruz. 2013 was the year, Rip, the Santa Cruz Warriors have traded our best player, Edwin Ubelis, to the Springfield Armor. I was ready to sell Edwin. I was watching highlights of Siena, maybe one of the best ballers to ever come from the school. We were starting to create marketing campaigns using some old Dakota Wizards pictures. This guy played for the Washington Wizards, Rip. He was gonna change everything in the D League. But we flipped him to the Springfield Armor. Springfield, actually, great basketball town. The Hall of Fame is there. The Armor are no longer there, have since moved on. But that's my tie to Siena basketball. What do you think? That's a pretty deep cut right there.
No, you got to dig deep to have a Siena ties. I mean, six NCAA tournament appearances, but when a guy named Edwin Ubales is one of your legends, yeah, very very obscure, 1-star reference right there, DK.
We were ready to set up Edwin on some mini plans, start marketing him, man. Great finger roll, great touch that guy had. Not the touch of JJ Redick at all. On the court, off the court, podcasting, now head coaching. JJ, we called it. Los Angeles Lakers head coach. Tough first head coaching job, if you ask me. What was your first real job, Rip, that would have been equivalent to a head coaching job?
I guess president and CEO of this podcast, man. I haven't had much on the resume as far as leadership and managing a team and trying to do something groundbreaking before. That's where you're looking at it right now.
You're doing it. You're killing it. President and CEO, the 1-Star Recruits podcast. Next season coming soon. Actually, I have some ideas. I want to maybe change the logo a little bit. We'll talk offline. I had a dream about the logo, Rip. I got to share it with you. But congratulations to JJ. Yeah, it's going to be really, I went back and I listened to some of the podcasts that he did with him and LeBron. He knows his X's and O's. He knows the game of basketball. Now it's seen if grown men with a lot of money and a lot on the line can take your bullshit over 9 months out of the year and then some. I hope he does well. I wish him the best of luck. We have the NBA draft coming up. It's in Brooklyn, Barclays Centers. NBA is doing a little bit of a new thing, making it a 2-day draft, which is kind of cool, changing it up a little bit. I'm excited. The draft itself isn't that good, meaning over people more knowledgeable than Rip and I look at these draft classes and kind of determine if this is going to be a phenomenal draft class or a mediocre or a poor. This one falls even into more of the poor zone possibly. And I say that with all due respect because nobody ever knows shit in the drafts. But it's an exciting time. Rip, looking at the top draft, center from UConn. I like the 7-footers don't grow on trees. And a guy who can, after we watch the NBA finals, if you can pass, stretch the floor, and then most importantly, now kind of get to the block some shots and then catch the alley-oop, you're a nice little lucrative piece. The Atlanta Hawks, top pick, Klingon from UConn. You like that?
I think you're wrong. Everyone's saying they're going to take one of the French guys, Alexander Sarr or Zachary Richard. But we'll see. I mean, it's definitely going to be a big guy. Who knows? They're going to maybe Trey Young. I'd like to see some trades go down tonight. But the two things I'm most excited about for this draft: number one, to see where Cody Williams is going. Our guy. I think we had him on last year, but I think he's going to turn out to be the best player in the draft in the long run. So somebody better snap him up in the top 3. And the other thing is Bronny James. Everyone assumes LeBron's going back to the Lakers because JJ Redick just got hired as coach. People forget he's a free agent. He hasn't opted in. He could go anywhere he wants. What if Bronny gets drafted by the Knicks or the Suns? Maybe LeBron ends up there. So those are the two things to me that are intriguing about this draft, man.
Yep, changes a lot of stories. I think maybe at the latest, the Lakers have 56 if Bronny's still on the board at 56 and nobody's playing any of these little games, which these games are all kind of fun now because you're leveraging somebody's son to maybe come to your city, which gets interesting. But 56, keep an eye open on the Lakers. Rip, you're right. A lot of Euros up top. Our guy who was on the show, I like him maybe finding his way to a good team. Cody Williams from Colorado. Didn't show a lot of three-point prowess. Three-point shooting is very important. Shooting in general in the NBA is very important. San Antonio at number 8 could be a nice spot if it goes that far. This kid, Dalton Connect from Tennessee, plays 0 defense, but he's an offensive phenomenon. Keep an eye where he goes. But not a great draft. Let's talk about our Phoenix Suns because they don't have a lot of picks. Remember, we traded a lot of guys, but we did land back in the first round at 22. Anything you like for our Phoenix Suns at 22?
I mean, if they could get a point guard or just a wing, the 3-and-D guy that can shoot a little bit, I think that's the best case for them. But who knows what the roster is going to look like? There's so many trade talks about surrounding Kevin Durant and even Bradley Beal. So they got a new coach. I mean, who knows what their roster is going to look like in October? But yeah, just a piece that can be out there for 20 minutes and contribute in a positive way, I think would be a plus for them.
Point guard, you nailed it. That's it. Stay there. Stay in point guard range. If Rob Dillingham from Kentucky's around, get him. Let's not wait on that. Let's if Jared McCain's still around, let's get him. Let's not wait on that. Let's get. I mean, and even those guys, I'm not sure on, but I like the point guard. I'm going to stay right there with it. Keep your eyes open on a team like the Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors are not going to give up on Steph Curry right now. He's done too much for the city, too much for that team for him to just kind of go into the fog, Carl the Fog in San Francisco. That Kobe Bryant type season where you just start doing your farewell tour really early. Steph doesn't deserve that, and he doesn't want that. So keep your eyes open on the Golden State Warriors making some moves. Lots of rumblings with Paul George lately. Paul George is doing crazy shit on his podcast, saying a lot of stuff. You got to max that guy if you're Ballmer. They got a new building that they're coming into, but Chris Paul coming on down. Maybe a guy like Klay Thompson finds his way in LA, and then you send a guy like Paul George up to Golden State. So keep your eyes on that. Keep your eyes on the Memphis Grizzlies. They got to shake things up in Memphis. So draft day trades may be coming. It's an exciting time, and I'm not going to get in too deep, but I hope our Phoenix Suns do enough to keep this core group here and happy so we can have maybe one more go at this thing, and we'll do a Phoenix Suns. Listeners, this is in too deep Phoenix Suns basketball, but at one point this summer, Rip and I will do a full episode on the Phoenix Suns. So stay tuned for that. We'll have a specialist here as well. NHL draft coming up. The only reason that I'm mentioning this, congratulations, by the way, to the Florida Panthers. The NHL champs. Just Canada can't get a damn break. The NHL's on the up and up a little bit. I have a couple stats I want to bring up before the podcast ends, just to give an idea that it's not in the bottom of the weeds where a lot of people think it is. It's coming up as a sport. So is MLS. But the draft itself, Rip's going to be held at the Sphere. Do you have any idea what to expect with that?
I'd actually watch that, man. The Sphere is probably the hottest venue in the country right now. I think the Eagles are going down there in the fall. Like,
Yep.
Tons of sold out shows. That's a really good idea to have it in Vegas and at the hottest venue in the country. That's very interesting.
Well, it's a good idea, but it's unseen of so far. So what are they going to show? Players making plays, coming over, like, I hope it's cool, because this is going to be a prerequisite, a pre-screening, a pre-showing, if you will, to UFC that's going to be fought in the Sphere, which has got to be just crazy insane coming up soon. But like you, Rip, I want to go. I'd love to see Dead and Company at the Sphere. Probably the only thing that would bring me back to Vegas at this stage of my life. I like the Eagles. I don't take you much of a Hotel California guy, Rip. Maybe I'll catch him at a show with that bald head. If that forehead of yours keeps growing, you can just put people on your forehead. Put your wife up on your shoulders, on your forehead. Get a great view there of the Eagles. But it's going. So that's on Saturday. So we got a couple drafts coming up. That's the moral of the story. NBA draft, kind of boring, but the more exciting of the drafts. And then NHL trying to spice it up a little bit, doing the Sphere. NHL as a whole, 36% boost in U.S. ratings for the Stanley Cup Finals, which is great. That's huge. 36% boost in U.S. ratings right there. That's huge. Nobody ever watches hockey. Rip's the only guy on my group chat who's still clowning hockey. You got to get it together, Rip. Stanley Cup ends on I'm getting heckled by you saying that's how the championship games end, scrumming for a puck in the corner. That's the right hockey play, Rip.
It's the right hockey play, but it was boring as shit. I wanted to see a shot at the buzzer, even if it missed. I wanted them to have a chance. But hey, I was part of that ratings boost. I'll admit I watched probably zero hockey last year. I watched 9 minutes this year, and it was 9 minutes of hockey the whole season, and it was the last 9 minutes of Game 7 of the Stanley Cup. So count me in as part of that ratings boost.
The sign of things to come. Another league record for annual revenue of $6.2 billion with a B. Boosted by some attendance. Strong initial fan reception for the new Utah Hockey Club, which is very contrasting to the turmoil of what was happening with the Coyotes. So changing of the guard a little bit, maybe finding their flow. NHL, good shit. Congrats to the Panthers. I did call them as winners. Training all the losers at Trash Talk Boy took the Oilers. You guys are losers as usual. 1-star moments of the week. Anything that was 1 star. Anything that we did that was embarrassing that you don't want to talk about? Get it off your chest here. What do you got, Rip?
Just fresh off the heels of this interview, my 1-star moment of the week happened during that interview for the whole Siena and Syracuse fan base to hear. I called Gerry McNamara the best free throw shooter we've ever had on this podcast. That was part of the intro to the interview. And I completely forgot that we had Rick Barry on, who's probably the greatest free throw shooter in the history of the world. And we also had Jimmer Fredette on, who's also 90% free throw shooter. But hey, that was a one-star moment because I automatically said that Gerry was the best. But he's told us that he could make 96 or 97 free throws out of 100 in an empty gym right now. Are you buying that, DK? Maybe I was right. Maybe he is the best free throw shooter.
I've never seen a person more confident when he said it or believed it as much as he could. I kind of did a laugh off, and then as soon as eye contact was made, that man was serious. So I don't doubt it.
How many could you hit right now out of 100?
Check our Instagram. About 2 years ago on the beautiful courts of Kapalua, you can take a look. Probably would shoot the same.
2 out of 100.
Well, 2 out of 10, so 20 out of 100, 20%.
Not bad for a one-star. What do you got this week?
One-star moment of the week. I took it back to 1995 for myself. I have some lemons that are going bad here that needed to be used one way or another. So I squeezed a little bit into my water, took a lemon outside with me, squeezed some lemon into my hair over the weekend. This is how we were taught in Arizona in the Arizona summers when we wanted to bleach our hair like Eminem. And we couldn't use the real bleach, just use the lemon. Or even there was a spray, I believe, at the time in Arizona people used to use. So cool if you got blonde hair coming back into school in 1996, 1997. You know if you know. Anyway, I tried it as a 42-year-old adult. I burnt my scalp, and I think I doubled my dandruff output. And then I Googled it about 2 days later because I just wanted to see. I didn't have Google in 1996 and nobody knew any better. So I Googled it and it said that although it may lighten your hair a little bit, the acids eat up the pores in your hair follicles and cause quicker baldness and loss of hair. So 1-star hair lightening experience for me. Do not have bleached blonde hair. And I just have probably like 2/3 more the output of dandruff than I had before. So I need fucking Patty Mahomes in my life with some Head and Shoulders.
What a life. You're living out there on the island of Kauai, semi-retired. You have the time to mix lemon juice and put it on your hair to try to bleach it. This is another thing. Like I said, we need to have a live camera on your life all the time and just surveillance of that whole process and your reaction to your pores getting burned. I mean, what a one-star moment.
Well, let me throw these lemons away. They're bad. To let me open them. Is there any other uses for the lemons? Walk outside. You're right. It would be kind of funny watching a dummy walk around just figuring a lemon. The most exciting part of the whole thing for me was once I put the lemon juice in my hair, I thought, oh, I got to throw away the rest of the lemon. Then I remembered it's part of nature. So I just threw it in the nature. We'll see. Maybe lemon trees spark up and I mark some. Yeah, that's the thing, Rip. Now I'm very nervous about what I thought was a terrific fruit, which flows in. I'm going to stay on fruits. I'm going to keep fruits going as my theme. 1-star recommendation for me. Rec of the week. Summer fruits in particular. I had a fresh local pineapple here. I know I live in a bubble. DK puts lemon in his hair. DK eats local Hawaiian pineapples. And he wants to talk about it. But you know what, bro? I cut it up thin to win. I put it in a little mini, I don't know what they call it, a hotel dish, kind of a bigger dish, thin to win though. Put it just on my counter in my kitchen so I could graze on it throughout the day. And it is so fucking good. I don't need Haribros. I don't need trolleys anymore in my life. I'm going to support the local seasonal fruit sugars a little bit more, starting with pineapples. So I got coming for me. This is what seasonal for me. I live in a bubble, kiss my ass. Bananas, apple bananas, in. Watermelon, in. Honeydew melon, semi-in. Mangoes, the best mangoes ever. So fucking mangoes. I hope I don't Steve Jobs myself and go too hard on this or end up with scurvy or some shit. But locally in your own markets, get some fucking strawberries, Rip. Just north of you is the capital of strawberries and blueberries. In season, in summer. Don't get scurvy.
That sounds really nice, but I don't believe for a second that you're giving up Haribros for any kind of exotic fruits. Your last recommendation of the week last week was how to open a bag of Haribros, and it was mind-blowing. So I don't believe for a second you're giving up Haribros, but hey, apple bananas, more power to you.
What do you got? Recommendations. Rec something.
I'm actually taking a page out of your book. I texted you last week right after the pod. I was going to Costco. I sent you a couple pictures of some Hawaiian products I got there, but it's a very simple rec and it's for any occasion. We had my son's sixth birthday party on Friday. We ordered a Costco cake. Also, by the way, breaking news, we had this for our wedding 10 years ago. I don't know if you knew you were eating Costco cake on June 14th, 2014, DK, but that wedding cake was from Costco. Their sheet cakes are unbelievable. They put some mousse in the middle of 2 layers of soft cake with the frosting. It is to die for. 5-star cake from Costco. The sheet cake, I think it's $24.99 to serve like 50 people. 50 cents a piece, DK. It's unbelievable. So if you have a birthday, a wedding, a graduation coming up, head over to Costco and grab yourself a damn sheet cake. It's worth every penny.
Damn. Sounds so good. It's been so long since I've had cake. Sweet Lordy. How deep can you personalize it? Is it like a Subway order? Can I put some nougat inside of that if I wanted?
I actually don't think they mess with the actual cake personalization, but you can have them write anything you want on there. Happy anniversary, 1-star recruits, whatever you want on there. They'll write anything. So, but yeah, as far as the cake, it's like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They get very simple and very good.
Fuck, man, that is the trail of tears for me when you get to that back end of Costco and you hit the croissants to your right, bagels to your right, French bread to your right, rye bread to your right. Then you take another right, left, sheet cakes, boom. Then another right, directly into the custard pies. I stare at those custard pies for 6 minutes every time I'm there. I've never gotten one. Think, well, great value. Those are probably so good. I've never gotten one, but sweet Lord. They look like a big version of those Portugal custards you get in Portugal with those little egg. Sweet Lord. Rips Reacts, hit the music. The U.S. men's national team soccer had a great start at this year's Copa Americana tournament with a 2-0 win against Bolivia. Thanks to Christian Pulisic, who scored both goals, rep double goal score. In the next matchup, the U.S. will face Panama, which goes on tomorrow, listeners. The winning team will enter the Copa America tournament, which they'll reportedly receive $16 million. That's a lot of sheet cakes. 16 million. It's a lot of sheet cakes. Are you feeling the energy of Copa America, Rip, or nah?
A tiny bit. I actually asked Siri the score of that game the other day while it was going on. So I'm a little bit interested, but I don't fully understand what qualifies you for the World Cup. And I can't remember if soccer's in the Olympics and if the best players play, and that's in like a month. So I'm following it a little bit. Yeah, definitely more than I was 4 to 10 years ago.
Well, you're with the majority. MLS as a whole in this country is up slowly but surely. The soccer thing seems to be catching on a little bit. MLS midway through the season so far, the league's on pace to break an attendance record once again. I think that's over 10 million fans, which is a big number for a sport that nobody thought Americans could really do. And congratulations, MLS on the up and up. Paris Olympics might be on the down. The Seine River, which was set to host several outdoor swimming events. We talked about this, Rip. Next month still contains levels of contamination that are unsafe. There was a whole poo in the river thing that we talked about. There is no backup venue to use. So competitors could be delayed for a couple of days while they struggle to figure this situation out. Do they need to just give this up, Rip? What Olympic event are you most exciting for? Can you tell people to just give up swimming in the Pooh River?
I said it before and I'll say it again. I can't believe this was even on the table. I was there a month ago and that river is absolutely filthy. Did they end up shitting in the river? The shit protest? Did that happen? I believe that was supposed to be yesterday, right?
The mayor and the president both canceled. So I think people still shit, but nobody swam. So they just got the worst of the problem.
It's unhealthy. It's unsanitary. There's zero chance in my book that that'll end up happening. But the thing I'm most excited for, I think, is obviously the basketball tournament. I think the U.S. has one of their stronger teams ever. And then it's always track and field, man. The 100-meter dash is the best 10 seconds in sports in my book. We have some electric people this year. Noah Lyles, looking out for that guy. So always a 100-meter dash and always basketball for me.
Our generation's always going to love track and field, and it's for one reason and one reason alone. The Nintendo track and field games with the running pad. And if you know, then you know when you get down on your hands and knees and use your hands as the running to beat everybody's ass in Nintendo track and field. I, too, am excited. Tempe, Arizona shout out. Keep your eyes open, Rip. Tell your kids. Tempe, Arizona. This is where dad's from. We got a teenager, Paige Hine, Heyn, Hine, Paige Hine, in the Olympics in skateboarding. My sport growing up, we probably skated at Fees Middle School. Same stairs, same kick flips.
Yeah, she probably followed in your path. That's probably where she grew up skateboarding.
Nike and Hyperspice are teaming up to introduce a cutting-edge recovering boot featuring instant heating and cooling, as well as dynamic air compression massage for this Olympics. Rip, so you're going to get a new look at this new shoe. Idea alert. Podcasting boot that hits the market with the same capabilities, but for tryhards like us who want to talk nonsense but have warm feet. Podcasting shoes, good or bad idea?
Terrible. It's a 1-star idea. I mean, not only would that be like $1,000, but you'd probably sell like 3 of them. I'm out on that. 1-star
Last
idea.
one. DJ McClay started his NBA career as a video coordinator for the 76ers. Before he became a coach for the Boston Celtics, he worked very closely with Porzingis. After they won a championship, Porzingis gave him a Rolex watch. Rip, what's the best gift you've ever gotten from a work friend?
Probably a $100 gift card to Amazon. I probably ended up spending on pull-ups and diapers. But yeah, that's the 1-star life right there. I haven't gotten any kind of jewelry from any colleagues. So if you guys are listening, I'm due for a new pinky ring or toe ring if you guys can spare a couple bucks here. But yeah, my colleagues have not stepped up to the plate thus far.
You're talking directly to me, Vice President and CEO, 1-star recruits. I need to get you a Cuban Links. Cuban Links coming for Rip next birthday. Best gift I ever received, Edible Arrangements 2006 when Edible Arrangements were new. Still 1-star. I love them. This is the fruit episode. Fruity Pebbles. Give us 5 stars if you're going to try a fruit because you heard me talking about it. Fresh fruit. 5 stars. We'll be back next week. One love.
See you next week.